So I've been very inspired by spring recently, and currently the UK is in a bit of a heat wave at the minute. I'm sure it will only last about 48 hours, but it is lovely and warm and the sun is out, and I want to make a dress perfect for like running through the fields, very floral, very much like spring, summer inspired, and very puffy. Puffy is the key word here. I want puffy sleeves, I want lots of puffy skirting and ruffles, all of it. I've been very much scrolling through Pinterest and I've been inspired by like all these pictures here, and I really want to recreate some of these pictures in a dress that I've made myself. So I came across this beautiful lilac-y organza, and it's got these like really cute like little flowers and vines on it, so I just thought perfect for spring. And I've kind of just draped it on top of this like lilac cotton on my dress form to see how it would look, and I think it's very cute and I can't wait to start sewing with this. I also made this cute little like sample because I have a lot of sequins, alright, and I just think how cute would it be to have some little flowery sequins at like the end of like some of the vines all over the dress, and I think it would just, it's really struggling to focus right now. I should probably crack on because I have a lot to do, because I'm going to be drafting this pattern from good old mannequin here dress form, which is very handy. But yeah, I got to draft the pattern from my dress form and then obviously fit it to my body before I can even think about cutting out of like the fashion fabric. So I have a lot of work to be done. So I'm gonna crack on, because I feel like this is going to end up being a really big project and I do not want it to go like another 4 months without posting a video again. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to get into it. I hope you enjoy, by the way.
So to make my dress, I begin by drawing the shape of my bodice onto my dress form. I did literally learn this technique from watching videos on the internet, so it might not be 100% right, but it works for me, and if it works, you know. So once I'm happy with how it looks on the dress form, I then trace this shape onto some scrap fabric. After doing this for each pattern piece, I then add seam allowance and use these pieces as pattern pieces for my first mock-up of the bodice. It's very important to do mock-ups to make sure everything is fitting right. I then cut out my pattern pieces and sew them together.
So I finished my mock-up and it's fitting really nicely actually. Normally with the first mock-up you kind of like need to make some adjustments and stuff, but this is fitting quite well, which we're liking. It's going to have a zipper in the back, and then it's going to have some puff sleeves as well. So I'll just attach them when the bodice is actually done. But yeah, this is how it's fitting. I'm liking how it's fitting. I didn't add any seam allowance on the bottom or the top because I thought I would do that if I like the fit. I wanted to see where the neckline would sit first before I added like, you know, some seam allowance. But yeah, now I'm happy with it. I need to make some pattern pieces and cut out of my main fabric and my lining fabric, so I'll get on with that now.
Now that I'm happy with how the bodice fits, I'm going to cut out of my fashion fabric, aka the expensive stuff. Because I'm working with organza, which is see-through, I am interlining all of my organza pieces as well as cutting out a lining. Organza is a very slippery fabric, so I'm hand stitching my interlining pieces onto the organza before cutting out, as this means the fabric won't slip around and distort the pattern pieces. I then take to my sewing machine and sew the outer shell of my bodice together.
So it wasn't my intention to get as far as I've gotten without checking with you guys, but after I sewed up the bodice a couple of nights ago, I just was looking at it and I was like, oh, I just really want to add some sequins on to see what the sequins would look like. So like late at night I just added on some sequins. So now the bodice is sewn, but it also has sequins on, and they are looking, it's looking so cute, and when the sun hits it as well, it just has that sparkle, which is just exactly what I wanted, and I'm very happy with it, and I like the fit of it as well, and I'm so excited to wear this dress. I'm just wanting it to be done, and then I can prance around in it like a little princess, and it's just gonna look so cute. But yeah, how cute. So I'm gonna crack on with finishing up the sequining, and then I need to make a lining, and then it's on to the big job, which is the skirt. Or the multiple layers of skirt as well, because I'm wanting it very puffy. So I'm going to crack on, and then I'll catch up with you later.
After sewing sequins onto my bodice, I then sewed up my lining, and then I tackled the long ruffle that is going to be attached at the bottom of the skirt. I don't understand. That's when I can be bothered to Google it and actually, like, you know, look it up. I'll sort it out. Probably after I get frustrated with this, then I'm like, right, how do I do it? This was a mammoth of a task. Like, it took so long. I had to do a rolled hem along the bottom edge of the ruffle. I then had to overlock the top edge, and then I had to sew a gathering stitch along that top edge and gather it up and attach it to the bottom of the skirt. And when I tell you, this literally took me like an entire day just to do that one bottom ruffle, because there was so much fabric. I was so over it, like, by the end of, like, all that gathering, and I didn't want to do any more gathering anymore, ever.
So I've run into a slight issue, and the issue being that the main fabric of the skirt is a lot longer than the lining fabric, right? And I know I added on the little ruffle at the bottom, but even so, like, it didn't meet the same length without the ruffle. So I've been brainstorming on, like, what I can do, and I come to the conclusion that I just need to extend it. I'm not going to add any more ruffles, I think, because adding that ruffle to that skirt drove me insane. So I just made this, like, long strip of fabric that I can attach to the bottom of this skirt to hopefully extend it. And then also I found some purple chiffon, thankfully, and I've made it into, like, a little circle skirt. Oh my god, excuse my voice. Yeah, I've made it into a longer circle skirt to kind of cover up, like, where it's not, like, fully, like, as long as the main skirt. If that makes sense. I feel like it's not making any sense, but in my head it makes sense, and when it comes together you'll see it. But yeah, that is my thought process there. So I'm going to attach this big strip of fabric to my lining skirt. And then it's a case of just hemming the lining fabric, gathering them all up, like, around the waist and attaching them to the main bodice. And hopefully we shall finally see what it's going to look like all coming together. And then it's on to, like, sequining it and attaching a zipper, which is the tedious part. But we're not going to think about that now. We're just going to think about getting all the skirts done, because that is a big priority here.
For the lining skirt, I then cut out and attached a long rectangular panel to the bottom of the skirt to extend it. I then overlocked the top of my cotton lining, my chiffon and my organza, and sewed a little gathering stitch on all of them at the top so that I can gather them into the bodice. I pinned each layer one at a time and then stitched them all to the bodice right sides together. And at this point I was really over gathering, and I will be learning how to use a ruffler foot on my machine in the future to avoid this much gathering. It also became a lot of fabric, so you can't really see my machine in any of these shots, but what can you do? I had like 3 layers of fabric and organza is very puffy.
So I accidentally got a lot of the dress done without filming it for you guys. But yeah, I attached the zipper. I then like sewed up like the back seams that's all like worn and I don't have my bum hanging out of it anymore. I attached the lining and then I like hand sewed the lining like down on the inside so it like hides all of like the, what are they called? Seams. I couldn't find the word for seams then. But yeah, it's looking all nice and neat and tidy. All I pretty much have left to do is just attach some sequins to like the bottom of the dress, like the skirt bit of the dress, and then it's pretty much done. But yeah, I do apologise for not filming anything. But I was in such a rush because I was going to this barbecue, and I can't sit there without doing anything. I have like my hands get like idle, and they're just like you have to be doing something. So I wanted to take the dress with me so I could hand sew like the lining in as I was at the barbecue. And also I get loads of questions on it. Everyone's like, "Ooh, what are you making?" Everyone tells me how beautiful it is. It's really good for the ego. I recommend it if you guys have like lots of hand sewing to do in your dresses. Take them to family barbecues because you just get all the compliments in the world on it. But yeah, so I did all that in a rush and I didn't film it. I do apologise. But I'm going to whack it on the dress form now and I'm going to get started on hand sewing a load of sequins, which I feel like is going to take me ages, but it's going to be worth it. So I finished the dress. My last steps was just putting on some sequins all around the bottom, and I didn't do too many. I just went like sporadically with them because I didn't want like to be doing this dress for ages. But also I just wanted it to have a little bit of a sparkle to it when I twirled in the sunlight, which it does. So I'm very happy with that. And then I just added in my label because I have 500 of my labels now. Look at this, 500 labels for my website. I don't think I'll put this dress on my website because it's literally made to my exact measurements, but it's more of a fun project for me. But I will get back to making stuff for my website in the up and coming weeks. But yeah, I'm gonna do a little reveal for you, but I'll say goodbye now. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to check out my website in the description below. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.